Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here on the west coast of Canada on beautiful Vancouver Island. I hope that everybody is having an awesome weekend so far. I hope that you're staying healthy, strong, and productive. Students, if you're in this class, you're definitely being productive. We are focusing on IELTS speaking part 3 in this class, everyone. And the title of this class is Being Shocked. Being shocked is just simply another way of saying to be surprised. Surprised. And some of you might be thinking, hey, didn't we do being surprised for part 2 yesterday? That's right. In the speaking section, speaking part 2 and speaking part 3 are related. So they're covering kind of the same topic. And of course, speaking part 3 are questions that are specific to the topic of part 2. So today I will be asking our viewers questions about being surprised. Welcome Laura, hi Irani, Education Notes, Justin. Good to see many students coming into the class. That is fantastic, everyone. So I will give you strategies for the speaking section. We will look at sample answer sentences for the speaking section, and I will even voice call people, so you will actually hear me interview real students, real IELTS candidates around the world, and I will give feedback on the IELTS scores or band levels, and we'll do lots of great practice. All right, lots of people in here now. This lesson is presented to you by aehelp.com. For academic IELTS, check that out. For the general IELTS, it's gieltshelp.com. These are our websites. It's not somebody else. This is us. This is what we do. This is where we get our materials from. This is where you can see over 100 hours of video lessons, interactive courses, practice exams. This is aehelp.com. You click that big red button there just above my head to join our premium IELTS package. And for the general IELTS, it's that big red button just above my head right there. When you click on that, you can use the discount code XR9T for a 25% discount. Okay, so check that out. Use the code, begin learning for success. Okay. All right. Students, apps. Yep, we've got them. Academic IELTS Help. It's in your app store. General IELTS Help. These apps link to the websites. Instagram, we got that too. IELTS_AE Help and GIELTS Help. Karan, please don't spam. That's why it's not showing up. All right. And then for getting in touch with me, if you have questions, you can send me an email. Adrian@aehelp.com. That is my email address. You can send me an email if you have questions about IELTS or our products. And we've got this class, then we got a short break, and the schedule for next week starts on June 2nd and goes until June 4th. We've got 5 classes there, so more speaking, lots more goodies. Mark that in your calendar. Subscribe to the channel. I post this on the channel. And if you subscribe to the channel, then on your phone, it will say, hey, these guys are doing a live class, and click that little bell button or that little bell on your phone, and then it'll notify, it'll go bing, live class coming up. So check that out. Okay. Really exciting, everyone. Again, this is all to help you with your speaking. So if you're thinking, oh, Adrian, blah, 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 let's just start speaking. Well, this is to help you with your speaking. We've got a new speaking video with a candidate from Madhya Pradesh. We just released that a couple hours ago. It's an awesome Band 9 sample speaking interview. I wonder if anybody watched that. I think Harman says, oh, yeah, I checked that out. Did you like it, Harman? Did you like the new video? I wonder if some of our viewers already had a look while we had our break there. So that's our new speaking video on the channel. It's sponsored by Cambly. It's available for everybody. I'll put that in the chat. There it is. Okay, so you can save that link or click that link later on. And then you can check out that new video. Harman says, yeah. Sarang says, yeah, it's great. Awesome, Sarang. That's good feedback. Okay, we want to know if it's great or if you found it boring or useless. It's got strategies and tips as well. Okay. We've got special classes coming up on Lighthall as well. Special speaking classes, and these are free to practice your speaking. So let me throw those in the chat. And you can register for those as well. So you have no reason not to practice your speaking. We heard your complaints. A lot of people say, I want to get ready for my IELTS speaking, but I can't speak. I don't have anybody to talk to. You can talk to us, you can watch our videos, and you can talk to our students. I will show you how. So you can practice real speaking with real people with us. Okay. All right. Let's get into IELTS speaking. Hi, Eugene. Great to see those emojis. All right, Sophia, you've got speaking on Tuesday. Good luck on your exam, and you are in the right place. It's great. Okay. Speaking part 3, always connected to speaking part 2. All right. So what was that speaking part 2 yesterday? I bet a lot of people were in yesterday's class. We had lots of viewers, so it's got thousands of views, so I'm sure. We talked about a surprise. Anybody remember what we kind of talked about? So we talked about surprising parents with a visit from university. Right? So speaking part 2 yesterday, I said that, back in, I think it was like in 2016, summer, I visited my parents in Victoria from Toronto, which is like a 5-hour plane ride, 4-hour plane ride. And I introduced my new girlfriend. Right? Okay, so that was yesterday's speaking part 2. The reason I'm telling you that is because the first strategy or the first big tip, okay, for high band scores in part 3, it is a very good idea to connect your part 3 answers to part 2 discussion points. Okay, so we're going to do that today. I will show you. Okay. All right, so we get into IELTS speaking part 3. Now I'm going to give you some quick tips to improve your speaking and your band score for IELTS speaking part 3, and then we're going to do lots of speaking. Okay, so here are some quick tips. These are a must. All right, number 1, use the question in your answer. Okay. What do I mean by that? So here's our very first question, okay? Let's talk about surprises. So the examiner will say, that is the end of part 2. Please put the note paper to the side, turn it over with your pen. And now we will continue with part 3. For this part, I will ask you some questions related to the topic of part 2. Let's talk about surprises. Why do people get surprised? Okay, and then that's kind of an interesting question, right? You have to kind of think about that. So to be accurate, to be fluent, to buy time, use the question. So the reason that individuals, or let's keep it simple, the reason that people get surprised. Okay, now we can paraphrase that. So if we want better band scores, higher band scores, we paraphrase that. And I saw in the chat that we have a student who was asking, you know, how do I learn vocabulary? Right? Like, how do I learn words? And one way to do it is to paraphrase. Excuse me. Ooh, that was a good sneeze. All right. So one way to do it is to paraphrase, meaning using different words. So the reason that individuals, okay, so instead of saying people, you can say individuals. Java, thank you for saying bless you. Amra, thank you for saying bless you. Stringer, wow, so many people. That's fantastic. Okay, so the reason that individuals may be caught off guard. Remember I taught you that word yesterday? Caught off guard means surprised, right? So I'm still using the question, I'm just paraphrasing. All right, now this is speaking, everybody, so make sure to speak and repeat. Okay, so speak and repeat. Copy what I say. I'm speaking with an American accent. If you want to know more specifically, I'm speaking with a West Coast North American accent. So think Hollywood, think San Francisco, Seattle, Vancouver, San Diego, Victoria. These are the places where you hear my kind of English. It's a good, clean, crisp, clear English, okay? Hi, Hero. Welcome to this class again. All right. So here we go, everyone. Repeat after me, okay? So why do people get surprised? Okay. The reason that people get surprised is they are not expecting an event or some idea. Okay? Or you could say the reason individuals may be caught off guard is an unexpected event occurs. Okay? So that's your start. That's how you start your answer. Okay? All this is the answer. So this is just an answer. It's not a band 9 yet, because now you need an explanation. Okay? So why does that surprise people? Okay? What happens? Okay? The reason for this is that they are not prepared, so they do not know what to do or how to react, right? Now I've got the reason, so I got to paraphrase that, right? So there we go. This happens because. So now I have an answer and I have an explanation, and this is my second quick tip, okay? So quick tip 1, use the question. Quick tip 2, give an answer, explanation, and example. And if you were in our class earlier this week, you've learned about this. And again, when you watch our newest IELTS speaking video, which I'm going to throw into the chat one more time, you're going to learn these kinds of tips. So make sure to check that out at some point after the lesson, okay? All right. So you want to give an answer, explanation, example, and your example can be that connection to part 2. Okay. So why do people get surprised? The reason that people get surprised is they are not expecting some event or idea. This happens because they are not prepared, so they don't know what to do or how to react. Like when I showed up at my parents' door with my girlfriend. My dad was lost for words. Okay, there's a nice expression for you, lost for words. So when you're lost for words, you don't know how to react. Repeat after me. Lost for words. I'm shocked. I am lost for words. I don't know how to react. I am shocked. I am lost for words. Okay, so repeat after me when I say this. I am lost for words. I don't know what to do. Okay. All right, so full answer. Here it comes. Again, repeat after me. Why do people get surprised? The reason that people get surprised is they are not expecting some event or idea. This happens because they are not prepared. So they do not know what to do or how to react. Like when I showed up at my parents' door with my girlfriend, my dad was lost for words. Okay, let's take this second, more paraphrased version of the start here. Okay, so one more repetition here. We're going to do this one. So why do people get surprised? And yes, indeed, IELTS, they ask you these kinds of questions in part 3, like, why do people get surprised? The reason individuals may be caught off guard is an unexpected event occurs. This happens because they're not prepared, so they don't know what to do or how to react. Like when I showed up at my parents' door with my girlfriend and my dad was lost for words. Okay, great. So that's one way to deliver a band 9 answer. Okay, that's one way to deliver a band 9 answer. All right, Rashika has another way. Rashika says, hey, I got another way. Rashika is one of our longtime members and is very, very studious, and she often comes up with some really good English. Okay, so here's what Rashika says. And I like it, Rashika. Right away, I saw what you wrote. I like it. Rashika says, well, the reason why individuals get surprised is that they don't expect this moment. Okay, so careful with spell correction. They don't expect this moment. And then you need more here, Rashika. So explain plus example. Okay, those are the missing elements. All right, and then comes the question, is it always good to surprise people? Give me a nice full sentence answer for this one. So is it always good to surprise people? Okay, good job, Rashika. Give me a nice sentence. So I'm looking for your answers. I don't want to just give you answers. I want your answers as well. So is it always good to surprise people? Now watch when you have this kind of word, it's a red flag because it's a superlative. Usually it's never always true. It's never always true. I don't think it is always a good idea to shock people because some individuals are very sensitive and they can become very upset when they get surprised. One time I surprised my friend Annie for her birthday, and she literally broke down crying and ran away. So I definitely will not be doing that in the future. Okay, so here's my answer. Again, watch, it's an answer with an example explanation, but very clear. I'm just making it up. IELTS doesn't have to be the truth. I don't have a friend named Annie, and I didn't make her cry with a birthday surprise, thankfully. But we have to be careful, right? Some people are sensitive, and they don't like surprises, okay? So here's the question again. Repeat after me. Repeat the question, repeat the answer, and then I will look at your answers, okay? So is it always good to surprise people? I don't think it is always a good idea to shock people because some individuals are very sensitive. And they can become very upset when they get surprised. One time, I surprised my friend Annie for her birthday, and she literally broke down crying and ran away. So I definitely will not be doing that in the future. Did you repeat? Did you copy what I said? Copying and repetition is a good way to practice in these live classes. Okay, so make sure to copy. All right, Amra said something different. This is what our member Amra said here. And Amra, I can see that you've got two parts to this, which is great. I've got them both. Okay. So Amra says, I would say 50 to 50. Amra, the correct expression, we don't have the 2 in there. That makes it awkward, okay? So I would say 50-50. We just say 50-50, not 50-50, just 50-50, okay? So it's like half of the time, okay? So I would say, it's a nice expression. I would say 50-50. If a person surprises somebody with a positive intent, such as unannounced, coming from a university abroad or military service, it will improve the condition of another individual. I would say it will improve the mood of another individual, okay? Or keep it simpler, it will cause happiness. New sentence here. Conversely, surprising an elderly person can be quite risky because that person can faint. Faint is a verb. Or even a heart attack. Okay? Heart attack is the common way of saying cardiac arrest. Right? If you're a nurse out there, it's cardiac arrest. Okay? It's a heart attack. All right, yeah, okay, that works, Amra. A couple of corrections and a little bit more concise. So repeat after me. I would say 50-50. If a person surprises somebody with a positive intent, such as unannounced coming home from university or military service, it will cause happiness. Conversely, surprising an elderly person can be quite risky because that person can faint or even have a heart attack. Okay. Chayan Kip. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right, but I'm doing my best. Ghazi, leave your answers in there, please. Okay. So this is Chayan Kip. Chayan Kip saying, and make sure you don't just write this, but say it, students. Saying, I don't think so. If some people always surprise another, it's a partial sentence, but actually that person has some disorder, like anxiety, they can have a panic attack. We should avoid them like the plague. No. Careful. Yeah, I mean, it's a funny visual. That's why I was laughing. But avoid them like the plague. That's a weird idiom to use in this case. Don't use it. So we should avoid this situation so that we do not traumatize the person. Don't apologize for your grammar. That's why I'm here. I'm here to help you. Okay. More importantly, don't force idioms. Okay. Avoid them like the plague. It's very strange in this sentence. That poor person. You shouldn't avoid them. You should, care for them, especially if it's a person you love. But you definitely shouldn't surprise them. So you should avoid the situation so you do not traumatize. Think of the word trauma. There's both physical and psychological trauma. Okay. All right. Good. Lots of great answers. Leviathan is saying, from my perspective, surprising people doesn't always lead to a good outcome. Around a month ago, I surprised my best friend with his favorite cake. Then he collapsed on the floor, hitting his head on the ground. Leviathan, don't use the word thing in your answer. That's really awkward. What's your friend's favorite thing? Okay, so birthday cake or a firecracker or something that's not thing. Okay. Rashika says, I don't think it's a good idea at all, especially for older people, because they don't have the energy to cope with that situation. My neighbor, Miss Geeta, fainted when celebrating her 80th birthday. Ooh, I hope that didn't actually happen, Rashika. Okay. Giant Kip, you are very welcome for the correction. Don't force idioms, okay? It doesn't work. All right. Lots of great answers, everybody, and that is fantastic. I love seeing your awesome answers. Let me save all those so I can think about advice to improve you even further in future classes. And now, to help you do even better in your speaking, we are going to take some volunteers for actually speaking. So we're not just typing, but we're talking to each other. So you want to register an account at aehelp.com. Go to your My Student account, click on Student Partner Speaking, enable your microphone, and then send me a message to Master that says, hey, I want to volunteer. Ask me a question. And then we'll talk. Okay? Let me show you how. A little bit more specifically. So this is our website, aehelp.com. You can get access to our full course by clicking that red button. I'll put the link into the chat. Full dash course, that's for the full course. And if you want to just try it and register for the free course, you can do that by clicking the green button. I'll put the link for that. Okay, but you have to register at least for one of these to use the chat. aehelp.com free dash course. So it's in the chat. Okay, whoop, let me correct that one. That's not going to work. Here we go. So this is the free version here. Okay. So once you do that, you'll be in your My Student account. If you're a returning student, then you need to click that My Student account. And then when you're in the My Student account, and the free version is absolutely free, 100% free, no tricks, no catch, nothing. Okay. All right. And then in your My Student account, click on this. This is free for everybody. It's the Student Partner Speaking. Excuse me. click on that student partner speaking. And once you've clicked on that, you have to accept our terms. That keeps us safe. It means you will be speaking politely, and you are responsible for your own language. And then you'll be in this page here, and you see lots of students, people in here, maybe chatting with each other. We've got Ramanpreet. It's nice to see Shine Girl back. Hopefully you talked with one of your fellow Uzbeks to figure out what's going on. And then you've got all these other people who are ready to go. And I can see Harmandeep and Tommy are ready to go. Maybe Tommy's also figured out what was going on there. And now we can connect and we can talk to each other. So let me put on my ears, meaning my headphones, of course. And let me reach out to a volunteer. Okay. Let's try it with Sam. I believe Sam is from Uzbekistan because I think Sam volunteered yesterday, and Sam's back for some more, which is great. Sam, are you ready? Sam says, yep. That's great, Sam. Hi, Sam.
How are you?
I'm doing good, Sam. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you are calling from Tashkent, Uzbekistan.
Yeah, we talked yesterday.
Okay. And I remembered, which is always a good sign. My brain's
Thank you.
still working. So, all right, Sam. When are you taking the IELTS exam?
Oh, it's so soon, in the 2nd of June.
2nd
Speaking.
of June. All right. Did you check out that new speaking video that we just uploaded to YouTube?
I think, yeah.
It's with that girl from India. She's from Madhya Pradesh. We just put it up like 2 hours
I
ago.
saw
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's a good one. So you can definitely check out those kinds of videos to help you prepare for the speaking. Just kind of pay attention to the subtitles, use them. And also, Sam, if you want to do a full speaking interview with me, you can always use this button up at the top here to book a full 30-minute session with feedback. Up to you, no pressure, just an idea. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, but you're here now and you want to volunteer and you want me to ask you a question, don't you? You got to get excited. You got to get excited, Sam. You got to be like, yep. Here's, I know you're like, really? He wants me to get excited about IELTS? It sounds weird, Sam, but that's an important tip, okay? When you go to your IELTS exam, you have to be excited to talk to the examiner, even if the examiner seems like they're sleeping. Because sometimes the examiners, they look bored. The instruction for the examiner is to have a very kind of serious, flat type of voice, okay? The examiner, they tell them, don't say like, oh, you're doing a great job, or hi, how are you? So they're not an ESL teacher. They're not like, how are you doing today, Sam? They're not going to be like that, or they shouldn't be like that anyway, okay? But usually students that are like energetic and excited, they get higher band scores. It's just the way humans are. We'll give a better score to a really positive person. So you want to kind of be like, if the person, asks you like, what is your hobby? And you probably heard that question in English like a million times. What is your hobby? You have to pretend like it's the first time that you hear this question. You're like, oh, I really like sports. Like I play football every weekend. I just played a game last Saturday, scored 3 goals, and it was awesome. Band 9. Okay, really excited. You're giving a great answer.
Okay, gotcha.
Got me? Yeah, okay, good.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, good. Especially because they're recording you. And if you decide that your mark is not fair and you want them to remark it, it will be another person that remarks your speaking and they have to listen to the recording. And if you are like very quiet and shy and on the recording, as you can imagine, it's going to be hard to get a higher score, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's really good idea to just really sound positive. All right, so here we go. Let's do this. So let's continue with speaking part 3. Let's talk about surprises. Why do people get surprised?
Well, the reason for that people commonly get shocked is when they just don't really un- don't really unexpected from such a occasions and um um oh sorry or just not prepared, so they do not have to react exactly.
Is it always good to surprise people?
Well, from my perspective, the surprising individuals couldn't always be a great idea, as people have several characteristics, and furthermore, certain individuals could be some part of sensitive and wouldn't get positive emotions.
What are some common situations in life where people plan to surprise others?
Well, I think it's situations in let me think. Sorry. When some kind of celebrities, birthdays, and so on. Sorry.
What are some situations where people get surprised and it's not planned?
Celebrations. Oh, yeah.
What are some situations where people get surprised and it's not planned?
Well, as I mentioned in previous question, it's could be occasions when your relatives or you surprise for a birthday to someone, and um,
All right. So let's stop there.
yeah.
It's totally okay, Sam. This kind of situation happens to candidates in part 3 where it starts to kind of fall apart a little bit. Okay. So for this type of response, you would probably be scoring about a band 5 in this part. Okay. Now, don't panic, don't freak out, right? This is part 3. It's the hardest part of the speaking section, arguably. As long as you prepare for part 2, part 3 is the hardest part. Okay, if you don't prepare for part 2, then part 2 is going to be the hardest part. But you know, I think that based on your English, I think you'll do fantastic in part 1. And you'll do all right in part 2, and in part 3, you know, we'll see, but you can definitely make some improvements. Okay, so you get a 5 because you're not being fluent, so you're stopping your answer, you're starting again, you're going off topic, you're making some grammar mistakes that are awkward, that are confusing. So at most that would score you a band 5, that kind of a response. To get higher, you have to give complete answers fluently. That's the most important. Then you want to improve some of your grammar as well. Now, you have an exam June 2nd, so you've got, 5 days roughly.
Yeah.
Okay? In 5 days, you cannot fix grammar mistakes. It's nearly impossible. Fixing grammar in speech and writing takes weeks, months to do of practice. And that is what it is. But you can fix the way you answer and the way that you think about answers. First of all, and this is a tip to everybody, okay, we've got a lot of people watching, and the mistakes that Sam just made, they're common mistakes. So Sam, you're not alone, okay? There's a lot of people that make the same mistakes, a lot of people. So the first, don't do, okay? Don't say sorry. You sound Canadian. Canadians say sorry and thank you all the time. If you're talking to somebody who sounds like they're from America or Canada, and you hear them say sorry, thank you, You can probably guess that they're Canadian, not American. Americans don't say thank you and sorry as much as Canadians. So don't sound so Canadian, okay? It's not good, not in the IELTS speaking, okay? When you say sorry, you stop your own thinking. You stop the flow of ideas, and it's awkward. And you're basically admitting mistake, right? Like, why would you tell somebody, oh, I just made a mistake. Hold on a second. You can take a point from me, by the way. Don't worry. I'll go back. I'll correct it. But you can take that point. So don't tell your examiner that I just made a mistake. Take a point from me, right? Don't say sorry. Let them decide that. If they want to take a point, take a point. But don't tell them sorry, okay? So don't say sorry. Stick to strategy. Answer, explain, example, okay? Sam, you were in the speaking class yesterday, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and you gave me an answer for part 2, correct?
No, we did a reading one.
Oh, you did the reading. You weren't in the speaking part 2 class.
I just watched.
But you did watch it. Okay. All right. I couldn't remember. See, my brain's not that good. I couldn't remember which class we spoke to each other. Good. You watched it. So you remember the response, right? Like you remember the answer that we talked about, like visiting parents from Toronto to Victoria from university, right?
Right.
You use that. So use your part 2 and part 3 to help you be more fluent and to help you complete your answer. So instead of saying sorry and getting stuck on the explanation, if you're really stuck on the explanation, jump right to the example. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Okay. So, here, when I asked you, is it always good to surprise people? You said, well, I think it's situations, let me think. Oh, sorry, that was a different one there. Did I write that one down? No. Okay, well, let's look at this one then. So I asked you this question. What are some common situations in life where people plan to surprise others? Plan is a very important word in this question. Okay. So here you could say, well, I think in situations, let me think, it's okay to say let me think. That's natural. Okay. Don't say sorry. Okay. Celebrities, usually we don't plan that. That's usually an unplanned surprise when you're like, oh, hey, there's Brad Pitt. You probably weren't planning that. You probably weren't like, oh, there's Brad Pitt.
I wanted to say celebrations.
Okay. So some kinds of celebrations. Yeah, celebrations. Birthdays, don't say and so on. Okay, and so on has no meaning to your listener. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So birthdays and anniversaries. Okay. Or like when I visited my parents during summer vacation without telling them, as I had mentioned in part 2. Okay? So that could have been that way to finish with good fluency and a much higher band score. Does that make sense, Sam?
Yes.
Okay.
And should I always use the examples?
60% of the time. Okay, so if you use examples every time, the examiner might kind of be like, let's stop doing that. I'm going to interrupt you and go to the next question. But 50-60% of the time, absolutely. Yeah, so for at least like half of the questions in part 1, part 3, and of course you should include examples in part 2. It asks you for that. It will say like, give me examples from your life. So definitely in part 2, but 50-60% in part 1, part 2. And that will make your conversation with the examiner much more connected. You'll get a much better band score, okay, for many reasons, all right?
Okay.
Let's try this question again. What are some common situations in life where people plan to surprise others? Well, I think it's situations, let me think, with some kinds of celebrations like birthdays or anniversaries, or like when I visited my parents during summer vacation without telling them, as I mentioned in part 2. What are some common situations in life where people plan to surprise others? Go ahead, Sam. Sam, are you still there? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so go ahead and just repeat this answer.
No, okay. Well, I think it's just
Just read
should
it.
repeat
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I think it's situations in, let me think, with some kind of celebrations like birthdays and anniversaries, or like when I visit my parents during the summer vacation without telling them, as I mentioned in part 2.
Much better. Okay, much better. So if you can say that, of course, without reading fluently, it's a band
Yeah.
aid. Okay, all right. So that's the big difference. It doesn't. Speaking isn't perfect. Speaking isn't perfect grammar, but it is sensible. It has to make sense. So the structure of it becomes very important. Sam, also don't forget my tip from the beginning of the class. Use the question. There are several situations
Okay.
where people plan to shock someone or catch someone off guard. Okay?
Okay.
So use the question that will help you set up for your answer. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. Sam, keep up the good studies. Do this over the next 4 or 5 days, and I promise you that you will see a better score on your IELTS exam. Okay?
Okay.
All
Thank you
right.
very much.
And definitely let me know either in an email or come back to the live class and let us know how your exam went and what you did and if it worked and everything like that. People love to get feedback.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Thanks a lot, Sam,
I'll
for
try my
volunteering.
best.
Yeah, that's all you need to do. Thanks, Sam.
Thank you, sir.
Bye. All right, that was Sam in Uzbekistan. That was really good. Okay, so give Sam a thumbs up. It's stressful to volunteer for these live speaking classes and get critiqued by me on your speaking, but that will help you improve. That's why we're doing it, right? Okay. Avdal says, good luck, Sam. Thanks, Avdal. Zikra. Shine Girl, should we try again? Let's try again. I'm hoping. Okay. Hi, yesterday John helped me, so I hope to speak today. Okay, Shine Girl, let's do this. Let's try it out. So are you ready? I am all for second and third chances, and let's see if we can hopefully connect. Internet, it's a complicated world out there, Shine Girl. So hopefully you hung in there and you're still here and you didn't have to run off to a party or something. I know it's late in some countries and it is the weekend, so some of you might be partying, right? Oop. Okay. Hello, Shine Girl. I still don't hear you. Sad face emoji. Shine Girl, I don't know what it is. I'm not sure why you're not able to connect with me. Again, the internet is a complicated beast. You could be getting routed through some part of the world that just does not do well with speaking apps. Like some parts of the Middle East or some parts of Asia don't connect well to North America for speaking and video apps. And it could be just the system that you're on. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you other than trying a different device, trying a different connection. The other thing you can do, Shine Girl, is try a VPN. So if you haven't yet, try to use a VPN. Now you have to be careful using a VPN. So this is your decision here, but try to use a VPN and route through the US or Canada. So choose a Canadian or US server. Okay, and then come back again at a later time, and hopefully that would work. Okay, if you haven't done a VPN yet, I would suggest doing a VPN. I have a feeling it's going to be your connection, your routing directions. Okay. All right, but do that carefully. All right, okay, Shine Girl, good luck with that. Okay, let's try somebody else. Critique. Critique would like to volunteer. Critique, are you ready? All right, we've got lots of volunteers. Amra, it's nice to see you volunteering as well. I've got you there at the bottom. I'll catch up with you in a moment here. Critique says yes. Okay, Critique, let's connect. Oh, I'm getting a bit ahead of myself here. Getting a bit excited. Here we go. Hi, Critique.
Hello, sir. Good morning.
Thank you. A good evening to you, I guess.
Hello, sir.
Critique, can you mute YouTube just so we don't...
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I just imagined that.
I just did it. I just did
Yes.
it. Yeah. Okay, good Critique. Critique, when are you sitting your IELTS exam?
Sir, I am planning for 9th June, and yes, I just booked my date yesterday. So it's obvious that I will have to appear in my examination in 9th June.
9th of June. Okay, is that for your speaking, your sit-down part, the reading, listening, writing, or is it for all of
Yes,
it?
sir. Sir, it's for computer delivered test. So I booked on 9th June, and that will be LRW. So the speaking module will be prior to that exam.
Good. That's a good way to have it. So speaking is before the sitting part. That's a good setup. It's better than having the speaking after. What time is your speaking, if I might ask? Like in the day, is it in the morning? Is it at noon, afternoon?
Sir, I hadn't received any mail for that speaking part, but I have booked my date for LRW on the morning batch.
Okay, good. Yeah, morning is good. In the morning, our brains tend to work well. So get some good sleep, and I'm sure you will do great. Okay, Critique, let's get into some part 3 questions, and then I will help you further. Okay, here we go. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. What are some situations where people get surprised and it is not planned?
Yes, there are certain circumstances in which people get amazed. Well, like a few months ago, I surprised my friend when he was on a tour to my city, Ahmedabad, and he was just unexpectedly met me in a mall, and he was like, "Oh, you live in this city," and that was all we. It made our day.
Okay. Okay. Have people's attitudes towards being surprised changed over the past few decades?
Yes, there are certain changes in the emotions when they don't get surprise from the person who they are expecting, and if they really prefer to get a surprise from that person, and if someone else shock them with wonderful surprise, then too they will feel uh, some unimportant. They will feel sometimes unimportant, like they want to be able to uh, express their own way of feeling happy.
Are there any cultural differences for people to be surprised by certain situations, or is it the same everywhere?
I don't think that there will be cultural difference, but anyhow, there are certain things which can be kept in mind when surprising an individual, because if we are surprising a person in the wedding, then there are certain cultural rituals in which they used to present a gift, and there are plenty of other things to keep in mind when surprising an individual.
Do people get surprised differently at different ages?
Yes, there are plenty of age difference in which people get surprised. Certainly, there are young peoples who like more surprises, and they get more happy when they even get a tiny surprise. Or in the same manner, when we surprise an adult, then they will not be so much.
Okay, that is the end of part 3. That concludes the speaking portion of the exam. You will have your mark in about 2 days online, and you will get your certificate in 10 days. Okay, all right, critique. That would be about a band 6.5, maybe a 6, maybe a 6.5. And I think you can do better. So I think that, until June 9th, you definitely have to practice the way that you're answering these questions a little bit more carefully, okay? So that you get a better score. But hey, that's what you're doing. That's why you're here, right? Yeah, to figure out your mistakes and to make improvements. So you're in the right place, and that's great, okay? Let me ask you, actually, what do you think is missing from your answers? You're consistently missing something from your answers. What do you think you are missing regularly from your answers that you're giving me?
So I'm not sticking to the. I mean, I'm not answering properly. Like I'm not sticking to the answer which can relate the question. Or I
Okay,
mean, that's
let me ask you this. What are the 3 parts that you have to have in your answer?
sir. It's answer which will be like on what side I am, and then will be some brief explanation and an example.
Okay, one of those 3 you're missing, and one of those 3 has to be in pretty much every single answer that you give. So which one is missing?
That was an explanation.
Yeah, you're missing your explanations. You're consistently missing your explanations. So you're giving me answer, sometimes answer example, but you're consistently not telling me why these things are happening, okay? And that's a big hole, and that makes it unclear, okay? So you have to pay attention to that explanation. There's a really good trick that you can use so that you don't miss the explanation. Train yourself to use the word because, since, as a result. Okay, so look at the they're called subordinating conjunctions of cause and effect. Okay, let me show you this. Okay, so look for subordinating conjunctions. There's different categories. There's time, there's cause and effect, there's opposition, and one more that'll come to mind in a moment here. So look up cause and effect. So learn and use the cause and effect ones, okay? And those ones, you will see the list will include words like since, because, as a result, therefore, okay, consequently. There's lots of them, so just look, okay? So look for those, all right? And then when you're giving the answer, cause and effect, and the fourth one is condition, okay, like if. So when you do that, you're going to give a lot better answers, all right? I said, have people's attitudes towards being surprised changed over the past few decades? Don't rush. You have good fluency. You don't need to show me your fluency. Your fluency will show itself, okay? What you need to show me is coherent language. So what you want to do is slow down a bit. You probably think, oh, it's weird that he's telling me that, but actually slow down a bit and think a bit more, okay? So here I would say that's an unusual question. Let me think for a second. Okay, this question, critique, what is the grammar of this question? Have people's attitudes towards being surprised changed? What's the grammar in that question?
So it was like, I mean, uh, the present with compared to the past.
Okay, but is the grammar here simple present, past continuous, future condition? So what is it? Have people's attitudes changed? It's present perfect, right? Have people's attitudes changed. So in your answer, to get a high band score, you want to show that present perfect right away. So that's an unusual question. Let me think for a second. Yes, in some ways, people or people's attitudes, use the question, have become different. Okay. There have been a lot of surprising videos put on the internet. So people don't get surprised as easily. As in the past. Okay. So I'm using that present perfect. Okay, and I'm giving that explanation, right? Now I can force that explanation because, right here, right? Because. Okay. I tried to surprise my friend for his birthday, but he wasn't shocked at all. Okay, so I'm going to keep this one a bit simpler, but just like that. So use the grammar and give reasons, okay? Let's do a little bit of repetition so that you remember this for the next time, okay? So here we go. Have people's attitude towards being surprised changed over the past few decades? That's an unusual question. Let me think for a second. Yes, in some ways, people's attitudes have become different over the last 10, 20 years because there have been a lot of surprising videos on the internet. So people don't get surprised as easily as in the past. I tried to surprise one of my friends for his birthday and he wasn't shocked at all. So have people's attitudes towards being surprised changed over the past few decades?
That's an unusual question. Let me think for a second. Yes, in some ways, people attitude have become different in the over decades because there have been a lot of surprising videos put on the internet. So people don't get surprised as easily as in the past. Recently, I tried to surprise my friend on his birthday, but he wasn't shocked at all.
Okay, that would be an accurate answer. Give your answer like that, you'll get an 8.5, okay? So slow it down, answer, explain, example, keep practicing that structure and you'll do a lot better, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you so much for volunteering and all the best on that exam on the 9th, okay?
Thank you, sir. Sir,
Okay.
I posted a question on on the live chat. That question was
Yeah?
so that question was like I am able to write my answers like ranging from 7.5 to 8, but I am unable to speak myself when it comes to the IELTS speaking part because I can communicate very fluently in general terms, but when it comes to the speaking session, then I don't know what happened, but I'm little bit scared, and that makes me nervous, and all my answers will be like bending from 6.
Yeah, so they get more confusing, just like what happened now, right? So again,
Yes.
the way to avoid that is just focus on yourself. Don't worry about the examiner and focus on the strategy. So focus on, okay, answer, use the question, give an explanation, use the words because, therefore, as a result, consequently. So force the explanation and then it will make a lot more sense, okay? So just stick to strategy. That's the best way to avoid that kind of a confusing response, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, keep it up, Critique, and that was a good question. So that's how you do it. Okay, bye, Critique. I'll talk to you later.
Yes, thank you, sir.
All right, that was critique. So yeah, test anxiety, being nervous. It's I know it's very stressful. I've done exams in other languages as well, so I know how you feel when it comes to doing tests like this in English. Okay. All right. Here's an interesting name. Let's see if they're still around. That Chapol. That Chapol. Okay. Would like to volunteer. All right. Are you ready? That Chapol would like to volunteer. That Chapol. What an interesting name. That Chapol, I think, the pronunciation. Let's see if the person is still with us. Okay, so hang in there, girls and guys. We're taking volunteers to practice speaking part 3 in the IELTS. All right.
Oh, hello there.
Hi, Thachapol.
Oh, hi.
How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. It's almost midnight right now. And you can also call me Ray.
Ray. Okay, Ray. Where are you calling from?
Oh, I'm calling from Thailand.
From Thailand. Awesome. Okay. I was just training somebody in Thailand the other day. They were in Phuket. Are you on one of the islands, or are you on the main part of Thailand?
No, I'm in Bangkok.
You're in the capital in Bangkok. I was there many
Yes.
years ago in 1990. No, sorry, 2000. In 2000, I was in 2000 or 2001. I was in Bangkok, and what an amazing city! Amazing city. Okay. All right, Ray. So, why are you doing the IELTS exam?
Well, because I am, let's say it's kind of complicated. I am trying to get the IELTS score to apply for my college into my portfolio, and I also using the IELTS score for my scholarship for Japan.
Good for you. Okay, those are some great goals. Yeah, I mean IELTS. It's interesting because a lot of students have a goal like using it for a scholarship in school, and then they realize like a year later that I can use it for this and for this and for this. So you can use it for a lot of different purposes, definitely. So that's great. Okay, well, let me help you with the speaking a bit. We're looking at speaking part 3 of the speaking interview. It's the last and final part. And these are questions on a specific topic. So right now, we are talking about surprising people. Okay. I'm going to kind of jump back to the start here, and we'll go from the top. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so let's talk about surprises. Why do people get surprised?
Well, I think the reason that individuals get surprised is when they are in a calm state of mind and they don't expect anything to be pop up right in front of the face, or a certain loud sound in a moment of silence. This is because they won't have time enough to react, and they might flinch or even yell something inaudible. Well, for an example, on the day my best friend or older brother and sister passed his college qualification while he was sleeping because he is so tired of reading, me and the other friend and family just rushed into his room and for his surprise, and then he flinched so hard that he fell off his bed.
Is it always good to surprise people?
Well, this is a kind of strange question from my perspective. Let me think a little bit. So I think it is not always good to surprise people. Well, because once if I surprise an my grandmother, an elderly woman, she might have had an heart attack and will be dead by the time. But if I surprise my friend, it will be a good condition because as a teenager, we like surprise for each other.
All right, I'm going to stop there because you're doing a great job. And you're applying a lot of good strategy. Very nice. And I can definitely say with confidence that that kind of a response will get you an easy 7, more likely a 7.5, and you're moving towards an 8. I would not be surprised if you got a 7. I would not be surprised if you got an 8 for those responses. You have a bit of variance. So if you're like, well, really one whole band difference, like 7 and an 8, why such a big difference? Your answers are really good. So your content is really good. And I can tell that you have a lot of experience with English. I can tell that from the accuracy of your grammar. So your grammar is very accurate. You have a really good natural choice of words, like using the word flinch, and just the way you connect your ideas and select the words. It's definitely that band 8, band 9 level. For those people that don't know this word flinch, when we get surprised and we kind of do this sudden jerky movement, that's called flinching. You do a really good job of visual communication. Okay, Ray, and I love that, and examiners will love that as well, where it's easy for me to see what you're talking about. Okay, so when you give me your answer and your explanation and your example, it's really easy for me to visualize your answer, and that is good communication, so that gets high band scores. It's very visual. Your grandmother, your friend in university, very visual. Careful not to overspeak. Keep your examples a little bit shorter. Okay, I'm afraid that some examiners might interrupt you if you start saying, for example, and then talk. Okay.
Okay.
Right. So shorten your examples. All right. You used a really nice expression here, calm state of mind as well. So examiners will catch all those, and you'll get points for that as well. The reason why I'm telling you a band 7 to 8 is because it will kind of depend on your examiner's skill level with English. Not all examiners have the same skill level with English. What I mean by that is, for me, your pronunciation is fairly clear. Couple of the words that you said, I had to pay a little bit of extra attention to figure out exactly what you're saying. Like when you said the word calm, I had to realize that, okay, calm state of mind. But it could also be because, we're talking through the internet and so on. It could make a bit more of a problem. If I were you and you have the chance to do a face-to-face interview, not over the internet or not over the microphone, definitely go for the face-to-face interview.
Oh, yes. And maybe I interrupt you. I am also doing the face-to-face interview tomorrow morning.
Good. That's good. That will help your score, because face-to-face interview, you have more clarity in your voice. The one tip that I'll give you, and I think this will make sure that you get that band 8, maybe even higher score, is enunciate your words. So when you come to words like calm, really enunciate it. So calm state of mind, like really say it, right? Like, well, I think the reason individuals get surprised is when they are in a calm state of mind and don't expect anything. Then they get surprised and they'll flinch or even yell something audible. Like when we surprised my friend at university and he flinched so hard he fell off his bed. Short example. Okay. That was really good. You did a really good job of buying time. You said it's kind of a strange question. It's not always good to surprise people. Once I surprised my grandmother, an elderly woman, and she could have had a heart attack. Okay. That would have been more accurate.
I was just a little bit nervous because it is my first time doing IELTS test.
Yeah, good for you to do this right before your exam. So hopefully tomorrow you won't be so stressed, right? You're like, oh, it's not that bad. What's your target score?
Well, I aim for 7 because my university needs 7 for the minimum requirement. Mm-hmm. If it is higher, well, it would be pretty good.
Absolutely. Go for the stars, right? Good news. I definitely think you'll get 7 for your speaking. I don't have, if you get lower than a 7, in my opinion, that would not be a fair score. Okay. And if that's on your, if that's creating a problem, I think you could challenge that score in your case. But I think that you can get higher. So I think that with a little bit of tweaking, especially just enunciating your words, you'll get even a higher score. And being face-to-face will help you. Okay. So really good, nice structure, answer, explain, example. Okay, that was really good. You did a good job there. All right, that was fantastic. All right, any questions about your upcoming exam that I might be able to help you with before we say goodbye?
I think I don't have any question left because I just watched all of this channel YouTube clip and just writing and noting the band 9 speaking thing.
Okay, yeah, pay attention to those strategies. Just practice them. Go to your exam early, about an hour early, and speak to other people in English so that you warm up your speaking, okay?
Okay.
All right. We just posted this new speaking video. I'm going to throw that in there as
Oh,
well.
the Indian one.
Yeah. Did you check that one out already?
Yes, I already checked that one out.
Awesome. Okay, good, good, good. So that's kind of, you're doing that. I feel like you were doing that when you were talking right now. And that was really great. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for volunteering. Good luck on your exam tomorrow.
Okay, thank you and good luck with your stream because I gotta go to sleep now. It's almost midnight now.
Yeah, get good rest. Definitely rest up before your test. Bye, Ray.
Goodbye.
Okay, that was great. Ray did a good job, right? So everybody hopefully thought so as well. Okay, students. So again, we're using our website, Academic IELTS Help, for our lesson, and this is where you need to go in order to improve your speaking. So make sure to check it out and talk to each other. We've got lots of students in here volunteering. Okay. So go there and check it out and use this student speaking partner function on the website. Again, click the join now button that is right here. Okay, check out our latest video. This is our website, aehelp.com. It's definitely, we got more than 70 speaking videos in the full course, and the full course doesn't cost a lot, so it's worth it. For the general IELTS, check out gieltshelp.com. Okay, and have a great weekend, everyone. I will be back on Thursday with more live speaking. We'll have special classes on Light Hall as well. Okay, so aehelp.com, everyone, for academic IELTS. Thank you to all my volunteers for today. I want to make a point to thank you. Honey, do you want to say goodbye to everybody? Bella?
Bye-bye.
Come here, say goodbye. I've got a little special visitor here with me today, and I think she wants to say goodbye to everybody as well. So let's see. She's in my studio this morning. Here we go. Let's see. You can meet my daughter. There she is. Okay. You want to say goodbye to everybody?
Bye-bye.
Say have a nice weekend.
Have a nice weekend.
Okay, so that's my little mini me. All right, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this class. Check us out at aehelp.com and gieltshelp.com. We've got lots more for you there to study over the next few days, and check out that new video. Much love to everybody. Bye for now.